Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back. I hope everybody had a great weekend. A little crazy weekend with all the protesters going on. So it's a little time for a little bit of comedy. Today we have a great comedian, a fantastic actor. You see him in tons of television shows. He has performed over 15,000 comedy shows in all 50 states. Let's bring him on right now. Mr. Jimmy D, that's what he gets called, Jimmy D. Della Valle. Let me see. Hi, Jimmy. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Tony? How you doing?
Good. What's going on? Thank you so much for coming on today. How have you been?
I'm good, man. You know the looting's a little crazy out here in LA right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
So, what brings you to LA? I know you are a East Coast guy. How long you been in LA?
So I moved here in 2004, January 2004. They were like, I had just did Sopranos, I had just did a couple other things, and I did this big pilot, and the manager was like, "Hey, move out to LA. It's your time." And then I came out, and then I know I now I have the beard and stuff, but it was like the manager was like, "Look," and he goes, "Move. You got the look. It's all about the look." So I moved out, and the directors were like, "Look, you're not right for this part." So that's pretty much. But yeah, that upset me, to move out to come all the way across. I had just got married to my Latin wife, and she was from Brooklyn, and we
And you have a
came.
cat. Don't forget the cat, okay?
So it's sad. Not to make anybody sad. My cat passed away March 25th, and then we just got two new kittens. I
Oh,
got
okay.
I
Sorry
got
to
almost.
hear that, but welcome
Yeah,
the kittens to the family.
yeah. Frankie and Fiona, because
Okay.
I'm Italian Irish, so you got Frankie and Fiona, but it's actually from Shameless as well. The characters.
So, I mean, I know a little the beard doesn't give you justice, doesn't do justice, but you're a young guy and you've done a million things in your life. You know, you've been to some of the top comedy shows ever. I mean, you've been in Sex and the Cities, The Sopranos. What year were you in The Sopranos?
So it was kind of weird what happened. So they wanted me since day one of The Sopranos. They wanted me in the pilot, and I was a comedian. And um, where's the picture? Son of a gun! I wish I had the picture. I think if you Google, it, there's a black and white picture of me. It's like the best. I was like the number one picture for the whole year. My headshot. It was a black and white for IMDb,
Yeah,
and I'll flip through. I don't know if you have the thing. I'll look through and I'll grab the picture.
yeah,
And what happened was, um, they were like David Chase. I'm like, who? Yeah, can I swear on
yeah,
this thing?
absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm like, who the fuck is David Chase? I'm like, I got a show at Bananas Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie. I give a fuck about David Chase. And they're like, and my manager's like, look, they want to meet with you. They went nuts over your headshot. And then I found out for so many years I would book things just alone on the headshot. That's how good the look was. Cause so what happened was I auditioned for my first episode. They wanted me to shave my head. I got a full head of hair,
Yeah.
and they were like, "You want to shave your head?" I'm like, "Sopranos." I go, "I don't even sing. I don't know what you're talking about." And they wouldn't tell me anything about Sopranos. And this was like in the pilot.
Yeah.
And I go, "Nah." So I turn it down. So then I went back to another one, and they started bringing me in for once the show got picked up. They kept bringing me in for different auditions and auditions and auditions. And then the ninth audition, I was with Christopher Walken's wife, Georgianne, and she goes, "Call back, sweetie." And I go, "Fuck the call back!" Right there in the room, I go,
Yeah.
and she goes, "What?" I go, it's driving me crazy. You give me a call back every audition. I can't do this no more. She goes, okay, no callback. I said, I'm fine with that. She goes, I'm kidding. Tomorrow. So then she brings me to Silver Cup Studios for the callback. And she goes, look, you're gonna get this one. I go, you say that every time. I go, it's killing me. So then I go into the audition, and David Chase is right in front of me, the creator, and then
Yeah.
the guy from Boardwalk Empire is there, too, Terrence Winter. And and they're sitting. I'm trying to point, and they're sitting like right in front of me. She goes, "Don't worry about them. Just do your lines with me. There's other producers. There's other writers in the room." And she goes, she starts reading with me, and I'm looking this way at her, and I do my first lines, and then it goes for my second lines, and I go right to her, or I go right to David Chase, and I do my lines, and then you can hear her kind of stutter, like, no, and she starts reading some more, and I do my lines again. It was for a recurring role.
Okay.
And anyways, he says, and he goes, the ball's on this kid, and everyone claps, laughs. I leave. She goes, I think he liked you. I go, yeah, I went against your thing. She goes, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Next morning, I got the offer. So I get a recurring role, 3 episodes minimum.
Yeah.
Everything's great. Now I'm going to do it. I get to the table read the next week or whatever, and then they say, hey, you're only doing 1 episode. You're still going to be on the show. David owed a favor to somebody.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so they gave me my part where I just come in and I kill everybody at the valet, where I go, you like your job, you piece of shits? And I'm pointing the gun at them and
Yeah.
stuff. And then I steal the high end cars at the country club. So that was my story. And my wife broke my balls. And she was like, really? She goes, you tell them, screw you, I'm not taking the call back, and this and that. You know, it was my ninth
Audition.
ninth audition. You know, it's like it was driving me crazy.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, David Chase ended up being a lot of people did not know this at the time, but he was Italian. He's Italian.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. You've done tons of television shows, Without a Trace, Sex in the City. Which one was your favorite one to be in?
So, Without a Trace was one of my favorite shows because it was directed by Jonathan Kaplan, who directed The Accused, where Jodie Foster won the Oscar. And doing that was such a big deal because when I did Without a Trace, I had a recurring role as what the hell was my character's name? Oh man, George. It was George. And what happened was Jonathan Kaplan had just came off of winning the Oscar for The Accused, and he did the movie Broke Down Palace with Claire Danes, who's the star of Homeland. So everything he did was like amazing. And he said to me, he goes, man, he goes, this is probably our last year. He goes, but I wish I'd have found you early. He goes, you just have such a great on-screen presence, and he's like, the way you deliver stuff and the way he goes, just people love you. And I said, oh, well, thank you so much. And anyways, fast forward to on my sitcom now, Bobby Costanzo, who I didn't know then, who plays my dad, who's a legendary actor. Leo Rossi was in the movie The Accused. You ever see The Accused?
You know what? I think I have, but I mean, that's an old movie.
Well, Leo wrote the new Gotti that just came out.
Okay.
The new one, right? And Leo been in a million things. And Leo comes up to me and he says to me at this party, and he says, hey, I just saw your Not For Nothing sitcom. It's great. He goes, you're great in it. He goes, I remember Jonathan. Now, Jonathan Kaplan, the director, because I remember him telling me about you when he discovered you years ago. He goes, it's so great to finally meet you. I said, are you kidding me? It was just like the biggest thing. If you look up Jonathan Kaplan, you'll see this guy was amazing.
For people that don't know, for people that haven't seen Not For Nothing, that's the sitcom. It's on Prime, correct?
It's on Amazon. Yeah, so we did season 1. And what we did first with that was we shot a pilot, and it had a lot of heat, but I didn't know what really to do with it. And then I came and I sat down and I rewrote it. I was like, hey, I'm going to be like the Larry David of Curb, or I'm going to write my own thing and show Hollywood that I can So some of the reviews literally are like, I'm the next Gandolfini, and it was pretty exciting to hear that. And I'd heard things like that, like James Gandolfini, when I had been in other auditions from casting directors and stuff. They said you have it was like a Jimmyism, is what my acting teacher said, like this macho, I'll fucking beat the fuck out of you. But then it's like I'm a teddy bear as a person. I'll give my shirt off my back for you. So, but not for nothing, they could see on Prime. We could talk all about that and stuff.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Vinny Gumba and Lucia. They're saying hello. Say ciao, fellas. Now, you also started. It seemed like we were talking about earlier. You were very happy to start in the independent films, Rivers Nine.
Yeah. Rivers
And you're
Nine.
Bruno. You look like a Bruno. I gotta say.
Yeah. So what happened with that was when you get to a level of start doing movies, um, especially an independent, they usually take a meeting with you and they say, hey, we're trying to get the money, letter of intent. We're trying to do this. If we get the money, we want you to play Bruno. Well, so I took a meeting in a coffee shop with the director writer, and he goes, I think I'm going to have a part for you. So I was like, okay, whatever. You never know. They just say what they say. And then I all of a sudden am at the table read, and I'm with Edo Ross, who legendary. I think he got nominated for the Emmy, and Vinnie Jones and all that. But Edo Ross comes up to me and he says to me, he goes, "Man," he goes, "Kid," and that's exactly how he talks. He talks just like that. If you look up Edo Ross, he got a million credits, and he's like, "Man, kid." Man, you really brought that character to life. He goes, it's going to be a pleasure working with you. And I was like, oh, great. And then they said to me, the director goes, man, you killed it in the table read. He goes, you know how many people get fired from table reads? He goes, and Jamie Kennedy was, another guy read Jamie Kennedy's part because Jamie wasn't there for the table read. And the guy was so good. And I was like, so we're literally taking a piss and we're talking like we're guys in the bathroom. And I'm going, man, you were great. And he goes, oh yeah, that's Jamie Kennedy's part. He goes, I probably won't even have a part. I'm just doing the table read. And I was like, man, that sucks. You know. So that's,
So now you've been in films. You've been in in been doing stand-up comedy but from your bio, 50 states. What the hell are you doing in Wyoming, for
yeah.
example? Who
So
comes? Yeah.
that was just a goal of mine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that was a goal. Like, okay, I did 10 states. Oh, I'm doing 20. 25. And I was like, okay. And I did like one gig in Wyoming one day. It was just like in some nightclub / bar trying to do comedy. I can't remember who the booker was. But
When you yeah
yeah.
when you write your comedy skits and uh, what inspires you? Is it your like your ethnic background? Is it your previous jobs? Just what inspired you? What gets inspires you to do? Uh, on your stand up.
So Um, my wife is a big inspiration to me. There's nobody funnier than my wife. Like I put my wife in an improv class and she just like excelled right to the top like within 2 weeks. She's just so funny. I mean, one of my famous things from my new comedy special is we're gonna be married, or we're gonna be together forever because we're a team. And she goes, I want to be traded.
Yeah,
That that's
yeah.
who she is. She breaks balls,
Now,
like
are you talking about famous nobody?
yeah, my famous nobody special. Yeah, yeah.
Where did you film it?
So we shot it in Utah,
Oh wow!
which and I had to be clean. It was my first time in almost 30 years I had ever been clean
But
as a
that's
comic.
because I think you signed a deal with a channel that only does clean comedy,
hmm
correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I pushed the level big time. I pushed the buttons. There were about, I think they've shot, I don't know, a couple seasons, but there was about 50 comics, 50, that never came out.
Yeah.
They shot, and the guys were like, "Oh, it was great," and then it just wasn't Utah standards or whatever. But
Gotcha.
I love my comedy special. It's gotten me a lot of work, a lot of corporate work, and it really showed to people, holy shit, Jimmy can be clean. Because for years and the reason it's called Famous Nobody is the legendary Patrice O'Neill,
Oh
the
yeah,
black,
of course.
he was my good buddy, and he used to go, "You're the most famous nobody everybody knows." And
Oh, he was. I gotta tell you, he passed away. What, about 10, 15, 10 years ago or so?
yeah, I think it was about,
He was young.
yeah, yeah, he was the best, man.
The-
He
Yeah.
so he taught me a lot. Him and Rich Voss were my guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to have a skit about comparing, I think, women to salmon, which I thought it was hilarious.
Everything he did. He was like Jay-Z. He never even wrote a joke down. It was just all in his head.
Uh,
No comedian. I couldn't do that.
Now, if you had to pick, I mean, if everything being equal, pay and all that, you don't have to move. If you have to pick between being in a movie and a TV series or doing stand up, uh, what would you pick if you had only to pick one?
So when I started doing Not for Nothing, in fact I just signed another deal for the second season and third season.
Wow.
So that's before this whole virus thing. I had just signed with producers. We were casting. We were going through the whole thing. We have new scripts. The creator of the TV show White Famous with Jay Farrell is now on my team. He's a co-creator, and we had written 3 seasons ready to go. And I knew doing the show was going to take me to that level of doing stand up and doing theaters where I'm selling out, where people are going, not for nothing, the whole thing. That was my goal, to have the comedians on my show that I could go tour with, because we're all on the same sitcom.
Yeah.
That was my goal. But the show now is no longer going to be a sitcom. It's very gritty dramedy, kind of like Claws, Breaking Bad. It is, man, it's good. We're so excited about it.
When is season two supposed to be on?
So we were gonna start shooting. Like I said, I just signed with the producer. So now what's gonna happen? It's probably at because of this Corona shit. Nobody will be able to see it till 2021 at the earliest of season 2.
Now, when you do, since you traveled the whole country and done every state, do you change your stand up routine depending on where you are? I mean, if you're New York or LA or Texas, I mean, do you change anything around, or you just keep it the same?
So about 5 years ago, I got an offer to do cruise ships, and I was like, cruise ships. I don't know if that's the move. And the agent goes, I'm going to put you on a showcase. And Marino had just started doing them. And
I
Mike
actually had
Marino.
him on 2 weeks ago.
Sure. So Mike Marino does them. Greg Vacariello, Angelo Sarukas. We're all boys,
Yeah.
all paisans. And what happened was I went in, an agent put me on a showcase. I blasted the showcase right away. He says, hey, Carnival Cruises wants you exclusively, and you need 90 minutes, 3 different shows. Well, now to this day, I have 8 different 30-minute headlining shows
Oh wow,
that I do, which are
that's a
clean
lot of
and
material.
clean and dirty. And uh, uh there's another this one comedian, her name's Caroline Picard. She's out of Texas, and she had booked me in the theater years ago. This is before the cruises, and it was maybe only a year before the cruises. And I flew out, and it was like good money, fly out for 2 shows in the theater, and they were packed. And she calls me a week before and says, "Hey, Jimmy, I didn't realize you're from New York and stuff. I don't think you'll do well here in Texas." And I said, you know, I'm not cocky, but if I don't kick ass, don't pay me. If I kick ass, pay me triple. And she laughs and says, whatever. But and she says, okay, you know what? You came highly recommended. So then I came and I rocked that Texas. I mean, it's almost like near New Orleans, but it was this
Gotcha.
it was called Beaumont, Texas. And it was great. And I remember sitting there and I had jokes specifically like, hey, you know, this is in the city, this is this, and I'm gonna have to do this. And I was like, let me figure out. And they said a word called coon. Have you ever heard of the word coon?
No.
Well, coon is usually a
Oh yeah.
derogatory word
Derogatory. Yeah.
for black
I think I
person,
hear
right?
at the end. At the end. Yeah.
Yeah, coon, Coon, right? But
Yeah.
coon ass is like a kind of like a redneck or something. So I was like, oh yeah, we don't in Brooklyn, we don't say that word. And they had a big laugh. I go, unless you're with your buddies, but no black people around. You know, the whole thing was, and they were laughing, and that was just me. My improvisation is that is one thing that I've built over the years where my improvisation off an audience is at the top of its game. That's I've
I
worked hard.
think if to be a good comedian, you just have to, because different audiences are so different, from geographically, throughout the country, and also you never know if you have a heckler, uh, if people are not responding to, people throw away things at you while you're on stage, and you gotta be quick on your feet.
Oh yeah. You know, I have some fans hitting me up. How do they get to watch the show right now? Do they go? Are they able to see it
They
now
can
or
go
no?
to Tony Napoli Comedy on Facebook. It's on right now.
Okay.
Or later on, they can go to Tony Napoli channel on YouTube when we will post it.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So how does a Brooklyn guy uh, adapts to LA?
Um, so that was a thing about Patrice O'Neill, who was like, he's like, you'll be back, you'll never stay, it's not for you. And then I came out, and right away I was like booking commercials and stuff, which I'd already been doing in New York City. And I was
Yeah,
booking, I was like, yeah, and the weather, being originally from Syracuse,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, the cold sucks. So this weather out here in Los Angeles is the best you'll ever see. I mean, and that was the thing. It's like you can wear a leather jacket at night, and during the day you're wearing shorts and a V-neck or a t-shirt, and it's fantastic. So, um, I'm a big foodie, like with my wife,
yeah,
and we eat everywhere and we cook and that, and they got great food here, except they don't have good pizza.
yeah.
They don't have any good pizza out here in LA. There's a couple places, but most of it's trash.
I'm
So
sure you miss Syracuse weather, though. You have to.
yeah. Uh, I feel like when I lived in Syracuse, I felt like I was living. As I moved out of, and then I moved to Brooklyn. I felt that I was in the witness protection program my whole life. Once I got to Brooklyn, it became that's where I belong. I did the Brooklyn comedy tour all over the country as well. We did a tour called the Brooklyn Comedy
You
Tour.
still got a lot of family in Syracuse?
Um, so my mom just passed.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. She passed when I was on the cruise ship. I had to get off. I had to do that, and my sister's there. My black brother-in-law. And so I always say my sister, my black brother-in-law, my little nephew, and some nieces. But that's about it. Going back was really. I have a lot of friends. I
Yeah.
used to do that Palace Theater when you did the Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Telling Paul Valente is like, hey, you should be on this. I go, yeah. So I go, maybe I'll do it in the
Yeah.
future.
I'll tell you what, Paul seems to do really good with this donut shop over there. Glazed and confused.
It's he's a hustler. He's always going to be a hustler. It's funny. We were supposed to go I think he was going to invest in this one movie. Some guy out of Syracuse wrote, and I was gonna star in it. I forgot the fucking name of it. Really good script though. Also, Andy Davoli from Sopranos. He played Christopher. When Christopher got made, he got made as well.
Yeah,
And
I know what you're talking about. Tall
yeah,
guy.
so yeah, and he's got the mall. So Andy was on Sopranos, and he's wrote movies and all that stuff. And he has a movie as a part for me. It's about, I think his trying to get this fucking son out of the way. There we go. That's better. He wrote a movie about something about because he was going to be a basketball star. It's called Lazarus. Anyways, it was really good. So I don't know if we're going to end up doing. I think Jim Boeheim's supposed to be in it and everything. So
I actually had dinner with Jim Boeheim a few years back.
where at that Italian restaurant that everybody goes
No,
to?
no, no. It was a
What's
fundraiser.
okay. And you
It was actually a Turning Stone Casino.
I used to I dealt craps there when I first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was one of the first dealers in there. I was a Keno guy, and I
Okay.
used to be like 51, 52. I was like,
Actually, it was a great night. I ended up meeting tons of the SU basketball stars throughout the past. So, John Wallace was there.
oh, of
Uh,
course.
there were a lot of all the guys that were that been in the NBA and NBA stars.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Well,
so
I
it
used
was
to pick up. I used to play pickup basketball all the time.
yeah,
There, like back in Syracuse, I was, I was in good shape. I was 6 foot tall, and
yeah,
dude, I'm, 260 now, and I
yeah.
was fucking 160. I was, 100 pounds less. Yeah.
Greg uh, Goldstein says, "Nice beard." I believe
Oh,
he's probably a friend of yours.
yeah. Greg's a big fan of mine. Greg's seen me on the cruise ships for years, and one of my main stops is I stop in Miami, and they put me in the hotel, and then I got on
Yeah.
the ship the next day, and Greg comes and picks me up when we go eat and break balls,
Cool.
and
Out of all the destination with the cruise ship, what was your favorite? What? Because I mean, yeah, you do a half hour stand up 3 times a day, but you can actually enjoy the cruise while you're there.
right. So my favorite on to do. What do you mean, to do the shows or
Yeah,
to
like
go enjoy?
what cruise ship, like one location was your favorite
Oh,
one?
yeah. So, well, the best I ever did was last year, almost at this same time. I was in Bora Bora. I
Oh
was
wow,
I was in fucking Bora Bora. I'm like, Jesus, a kid out of New York who never barely graduated high school, never went
yeah,
to college. I'm flying out to Bora Bora, and I got to perform with another comedian, Al Ernst, Mark Palmer, Sammy McCool. These guys are all out of Australia, South Africa, and the other guy's out of Atlanta. And
wow.
the guy from South Africa, Mark, is now in the UK. And we got to all hang together every day, eat together, steak dinners, and then we all supported each other, watched everybody's shows. It was such a nice culture of
Yeah,
camaraderie that I had never had before on a ship. Normally, I just have one comic. This thing, I've got all these, and plus Mario D'Andrea, who's a legend on cruise ships, who is from Australia, who plays the guitar and sings and breaks balls. He was on there, and he's a real Italian from Italy, and
yeah.
we just had a wonderful time. That was my favorite cruise I've ever done.
Oh, nice,
All
nice.
Australian audience, which I had never
Have you
did.
been to Australia?
Yeah. I was just in Australia. I just did shows. I was in the New Zealand Comedy Festival. I just did shows in New Zealand and Australia. That was a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Oh, very nice, very
yeah.
nice. Uh, so, uh, So what do you think? Talking about our industry now. Obviously, you're not doing any shows like everyone else. I what do you think the closest show you have coming up at this point?
So I keep getting offers. Oh, here, I want to put this up here. So this is what I look like, Fachin.
There it is. Yeah, hold on. Let me make the. There it is. You can show it better. Nice.
Like, look at how fucking, that's when Sopranos was like, we want you. Like it was insane. So that was that.
Just shave the beard. You'll be right
Yeah,
there
yeah,
again.
yeah. I know. It's so amazing. I do feel like you guys found me in some cabin in the woods, and I look like freaking Harrison Ford now, or Duck
That's
Dynasty's
it.
Italian uncle that they never tell you about.
That's right.
um. So sorry. What was your question? It was a question.
I was saying, do you have any shows planned,
Oh.
or nothing right now?
So I've been getting offered shows in Arizona, Florida, Vegas when this comes back. And my wife, we don't leave the house. I don't really leave the house. I get grocery delivery. Uh, I got Hulu, Amazon Prime, of course, where my show is on. Netflix. I'm just sitting streaming every day. Now I got these kittens. They're like little babies. So
Yeah.
I'm getting up with these guys and I'm up all day. And I got a mask, but I mean, the thing doesn't even cover. Look, I'll show you. Wait a second.
God, let me see. What does it say on it?
Jimmy D, a fan made it for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so look, the beard, it doesn't even cover me. I mean, I think just putting it on gives me the coronavirus.
That's it. So
So,
you have nothing planned for 2020, comedy wise.
um,
I know when you go back, you got work, but nothing scheduled. I mean,
right. Yeah. So what's happening? So the cruises, I spoke to my agent the other day and oh, that was another thing. So in May 2nd in Vegas, I was supposed to be on a cruise ship, or not a cruise ship, on a showcase for cruises where the buyers from Princess and Norwegian and all the elite cruise ships were going to be. And
yeah,
it was going to be amazing. And that all got canceled, the coronavirus. So my agent says we're going to push it, but a Carnival will be making offers. They're supposed to be in August. We're supposed to be back, but I'm just kind of semi-retired. I'm chilling. I wrote a new TV show that I'll be pitching after this. I'm just that's all you can do is just sit and try to create. I'm doing a lot of Zoom shows, which are okay, and then
yeah.
I just got an offer to do my own Zoom show. Somebody wants to back it, and they want to chart, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna see.
What do you think about that? Because I see other comedians doing it. I see, for example, Vic DiBitetto did a few of them, sold out. I guess he did great. Uh, so so you're not against doing those Zoom pay-per-view type of shows?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do one tomorrow in San Francisco. I got some more coming up. If that's gonna be the rest of my life, no, I don't want to do
Yeah,
them. You know what I mean? If that literally became the thing of like, oh hey, you've got if I've of course, yeah, right. They go, hey, there's $1 million deal. We need you to do a Zoom show once a week for a year, and yeah, I mean, I do it, but it's not. That's not really. I mean, I like to
yeah,
interact. I did a show the other day. It was a ton of people. I think 150 people were in the show, but
yeah,
I couldn't see the way they set it up. I couldn't see the audience. So I like to be like, yeah. So me and my wife, I go, hey, you're married, right, Tony? Like, and I like to bounce
yeah.
off you a little bit, and
Gotcha.
then I keep going. I couldn't see anybody that was in the room, and I hated it. I did a Feeding America show the other day, which was a ton of famous musicians and stuff, and that was great. And I was like, there was only a few comedians, and I was one of them, and that went out across, and they did the big thing on NBC, and that was amazing. But most aren't like that. They're in their they're in their living room, like me. I don't have a background. You don't have the Tony Napoli background.
No, no. I tell you this. I mean, this show just started out of boredom,
Sure.
basically. This year alone, I had over 80 shows scheduled between comedy and concerts and all that. So I'm still hoping that from August on, some of the shows happen. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not a guy that likes to stand still. So I'm like, you know what? There's so many good comedians, a lot of actors. So Monday through Thursday, thanks to a lot of the connections that I have, I've been getting a lot of comedians to come on. Now, for people that don't know you, how do people find you in social media?
So they can just go, usually you just go to funnyjimmy.com. If you go to funnyjimmy.com, you can click my social media, which is my Instagram, my Facebook. My Instagram had about 80,000 people. It got hacked. So then I didn't want to do it again. My publicist um, was like, you got to do another one. So I only have a couple thousand on there. I really don't do too much with the Instagram. I never
Yeah.
liked the Twitter. I had about 20 something on Twitter, and then I kind of just let that dwindle down. I didn't like it. I like Facebook. I guess maybe because I'm older, I like the Facebook Live,
I
or
always
the
feel that Facebook is more complete.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't like to be told what I could say. Like, I go to type it in Twitter, and then they're like, no, 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 too many characters, and I'm like, what the fuck is a character? You know what I mean? Like, what I mean? So I got to go back and forth, and it just drives me crazy. Facebook, I say whatever I want, and I never say the F word on Facebook. When you write, I've only been in Facebook jail once, and I had a
Yeah.
good lawyer, so I'm not going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's happening with me. I like Facebook. I wish I'd have jumped on the Facebook fan page when it first started, and I'd probably have hundreds of thousands, so
Yeah.
it, it you know,
It's never too late. I mean, um, so growing up, you're a Brooklyn guy, New York guy
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
uh, who was like some comedians that inspired you?
So uh I definitely was inspired. If you really go deep back, it was, an Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, that type of stuff. But then when Carol Burnett show, the Carol Burnett show, that
Of
was
course.
Tim Conway was
Yeah.
the guy. That guy was the funniest guy in the world. I mean, that guy made me laugh. The dentist bit, anything. That was something that was a big deal to me. Then there was your Eddie Murphy Raw. Once Eddie Murphy, comedian Delirious, and Eddie Murphy Raw came, that was it. I was in Syracuse. I was like, I'm gonna go and do stand up, and I went to Wise Guys Comedy Club, and
Yes.
that was the whole thing. I went and did stand up there, and my father, had brought me down there, and that was my first show ever. And then within like a first few weeks, I got a manager right away. Somebody jumped on, hey man, you're gonna be something, and blah blah blah. And he was like a magician guy or something. I think he was like hiding out. He was an Italian guy. He was hiding out from the. If you could Google him, his name was Ermini, and he was a magician. And if you Google him, he ended up living in Syracuse. I forgot where he was from, but he ended up robbing banks after
Oh,
I got to my career. Now, like in the last probably 10, 15 years, he became a huge bank robber. And I knew his son as a little kid,
Yeah.
And then his son grew up and he was a bank robber. And I think they're both in prison. You know what I mean? But he was my first manager and he got me. I opened for Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah.
And
Everybody that actually, a lot of people that I talked to and worked with him, and they all liked him. They always thought he was like a great guy.
yeah, I mean, I was so young. I haven't seen him. My sister just logged on.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Okay, Maureen.
yeah, Maureen Della Valle. She's the one with my brother-in-law. That, you know, who's like my real. He's like my brother, but he's the
Yeah,
black in my family.
that's it.
But yeah, so we grew up. That's a whole nother thing about growing up playing basketball with him and all the Syracuse players back in the day. Because how long have you been? Are you in Rochester, or where are
Yeah.
you?
So, but listen, I've been. This is weird because I've been coming to Syracuse for many years. Because for a part of her life, my daughter lived in Syracuse with her mom.
Okay,
So
okay.
I know Syracuse pretty well. The one thing that it's weird about Syracuse, how many famous people have come out of there. It's crazy. I'm talking about, you have Richard Gere, you
So
got
Richard Gere, my sister, very
yeah,
good friends. My sister did just chimed on. Very
yeah,
good friends with Richard Gere and the brother back in the day because and my mom was friends with his dad's name is Homer. Homer, like Homer Simpson.
yeah,
So and then of course the Baldwins, they try to represent that they're from Syracuse, but they're actually from Long Island.
yeah,
Um
Massapequa.
yeah, yeah, but they're from yeah. So um and there
Actually,
was
Tom
Tom
Cruise is
Cruise,
another one.
Tom Cruise. Um Bob Costas
Yeah,
went to college there.
yeah, and
Um,
also you had the big rapper singer right now with the tattoos in the face. What's his
Post
name?
Malone,
Yeah, Post Malone is from
Mike
Syracuse.
Tyson, the one with the tattoos. Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
No, I know. Post Malone is from Syracuse. I mean, it's yeah. There's a list. I remember somebody was looking down the list and then going, "Oh my God, I saw you on the top 100 people, celebrities from Syracuse or something." So I never saw the list, but then I looked it up. I'm looking
no,
for my.
it's what do you call it? It's not so many. I mean, people have come out of there. Uh, like I said, Rochester, Syracuse, it's a very similar weather. So it kind of sucks to be us
Yeah.
down here.
Oh yeah, I used to say yeah, Syracuse is an Indian word for it's fucking freezing. That was a joke I used to
Boy,
do when I was young.
no, but we used to. How long? When did you work at Turning Stone? What year was that?
When did I work at Tony Stone? I gotta plug in the thing. Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Um
So for everybody who's on right now, we're interviewing Jimmy Della Valle, actor, comedian. If you haven't done it yet, go to YouTube and subscribe to uh, Tony Napoli channel, or if you want to like the page Tony Napoli comedy, that would be great. And you can also find me on Twitter under Tony Napoli comedy and Instagram. So
okay.
so we have, let me see, yeah, David Gear. Maureen was saying that's his brother.
Oh yeah, that's my sister. Yeah, she went with
Yeah.
David Gere. That was their brother. So
Uh,
that's funny. So I'm trying to think. So you asked a question right before I walked to plug in the
yeah.
thing.
I think I forgot what I was about to ask you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. We have the Italian ADD.
That's
Freaking,
it.
we end up eating the sandwich. What? You? Yeah, okay.
No. So, um, what we're saying is, we come from a similar. I mean, Rochester and the Syracuse is very similar weather-wise. Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but there's no. We talked about many famous people from there. I'm trying to think. What the hell did I just ask you? Probably,
So I forgot.
yeah. But it's okay. We'll skip over that. Um, when was your last show you did in Syracuse? Because I think a couple years ago you were at wasn't the Palace?
Yeah, so I did the Palace Theater, and I did it several times. Sometimes I sold real well, then sometimes I sold good. But what I really liked doing was I had the VIP meet and greet after.
Yeah,
I sold tickets. My tickets were $40.
yeah,
So, because a lot of people want to be in the front row, so I can break balls with them during the act, and I would
yeah.
do about 90-minute show, and I'd bring a couple comics with me, and I really liked it. Um, but I never went to the Funny Bone. I was supposed to go to the Funny Bone, but they weren't offering enough money.
Yeah.
So then I just did, Paul Valente just gave me the door at
Wow.
the Palace.
Yeah.
So it was great. Now they don't even have the Palace no more. Is that what's happening or
No, no,
no?
they still have it. They just, but Paul and Mike Haggerty, which was his partner, uh,
Right.
they sold it to a different company. Actually, I was scheduled to go there with at the Uncle Louis Variety Show, and Frank Spadone was supposed to be there as well. We were
Oh,
supposed to be
okay.
there last weekend, May 30th, but we actually moved it to January 23rd, 2021. So,
Oh, okay.
but it's
Yeah.
like I said, it's been a tough year so far. I mean, we haven't done a real show since early March.
Yeah.
You know,
I got off the ship March 2nd.
yeah,
Standing ovation March 1st. That night I did three shows, three different headline shows. And March 2nd, I'm thinking I haven't been. Oh, actually, no, I headlined March 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club in California, which is about an hour and a half away. And that was the last time that I was actually on a
that's it.
stage, you know.
Uh, Now, do you think, like I said, do you bring your Italian background into some of your skits or no?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I grew up, the only way that I could grow up was my father was very Italian. My dad was very, he spanked the shit out of me, and he was a tough guy. And we didn't do timeout. We did belt out. As soon as my dad took his belt out, that was my timeout to get the hell out of there for 60 seconds. This is what it became. I'm not doing bits. It's the truth. I got kicked out of Catholic school in the 5th grade. I went to St. Rosalima because I was a bad kid. I was a class clown. I mean, I make a living
Yeah,
at doing what I did. I was in the janitor's closet more than the janitor. That's that's where they put me. Can you believe it? They didn't know what to do. They had the principal called the public school
yeah,
to say, "What do we do with him? He's the devil.
yeah.
He's the
Wow.
devil." And they go, "Put him in the janitor closet." So that's where I had to go for my in-school suspension, which would probably be illegal now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
did my first. I mean, I was in Italy and all throughout the junior high. You know, I wasn't a bad kid, but the teachers used me to make coffee. I was a coffee guy. I'm not kidding. You
That's
know,
so
my
funny.
my
You're a
teachers, they
barista.
couldn't leave the class because they knew the rest of the students would destroy it. So it'd be like Antonio back then. He goes, I was the designated coffee maker for all the teachers in our school.
Oh my God, that's funny. What is your,
Which
what is your real last name?
Napoli, that's it.
Oh, it is Napoli. Oh,
It
okay.
is. It is.
But you're
But I grew
Sicilian
up in
from
Sicily,
Napoli. What the fuck?
right?
Why isn't
Well,
it Tony Sicily?
but hold on, not for nothing, but Napoli and below the rest of Italy at one point was all Sicily.
Oh, there you go.
You
Yeah.
know, so that's you know, uh, so that's where I got it from. But it was a culture shock living here at the beginning. When you brought up in Sicily and every day you have a beach, and you have the sun, and then you move to upstate New York, Western New York, with all the snow and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Why did that happen?
My family have been here for like 50, 60 years. My
Okay.
grandparents and aunts and uncles. So my father lost his mind one day, and we were on vacation here, and we decided to stay. Well, we used to come here. I used to come here all the time on vacation,
Oh
and
my God.
but my neighborhood, I really didn't miss Italy too much. My neighborhood, everybody was Italian. All my neighbors spoke Italian, at least when I moved there.
Oh yeah,
Now,
my brother-in-law took me the other day. Well, the last time I was in Syracuse, I had to fly in, and he took me to. Uh, I had to fly out of Rochester, and he took me. What's that good deli you got there?
Rubino's, maybe.
Was it Rubino's? I don't know if it was
We have a
Rubino.
lot. We have a lot of delis.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. It reminded me of the Brooklyn.
We do. I mean, there's a lot of them here. You know,
So
a
there's a
lot of
lot of
good delis, a lot of
Italian.
good pastry shops. Uh, I was going to tell you. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough. Now, do you watch? I mean, you grew up in Western New York, Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
now L.A. Who do you root for, team wise? What sports?
So I always whole life was the Lakers. Magic Johnson. I like Kobe, but Michael Jordan
Yeah.
was my all-time favorite. Just
Well,
like Mike
yeah,
Tyson is my favorite boxer. You can't change. I'm never gonna. Tyson
yeah.
Fury is, but it's Mike. Mike Tyson was my favorite. Um, Football, it was the Dallas Cowboys. Uh,
Okay.
Emmett Smith, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I would
Maureen said it was DiBella subs. DiBella.
the Bellows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my
Yeah,
stuff.
we have a lot of them around here.
That was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
very
really
good, very
good. I
good.
mean, I think
Good bread, good
yeah,
cold
yeah,
cut.
yeah.
Uh, Believe it or not, when I moved here, the Lakers were my team because in Italy, the only team that really they show was every Saturday, which I love basketball. I played it. Was on Saturdays they only show the Lakers, you know.
Right,
But then when I moved here, I'm totally New York guy. So my football team is the Bills, and then I got the Giants. I like the Sabers. Obviously, I follow Syracuse college basketball. That's my team, and the Knicks. I
right.
never
Yeah,
got to
Syracuse.
baseball. That's a
Yeah,
different story.
my brother-in-law has season tickets to this day to Syracuse to the
Yeah,
basketball. But I
I mean,
almost thought,
I went to a lot of their games in my lifetime.
yeah, and Kobe Bryant is from Italy.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up there. Yeah, he was born in America. He grew up most of his life there because his father was a big basketball star up there.
Right.
You know, and do you know who grew up in Italy? I'm going to tell you a little story. And do you remember Roosevelt Bowie?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
From
So this is a
Syracuse.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
boo, yeah.
he's from Rochester, and then he played for Syracuse. He was in Brockport. Now, this is a true story. I just moved to America, and I was walking in a mall, and we see this huge African American guy walking by us, right? My father, see, I'm 6'2", but my father is probably 5 feet something, one or
Right,
two, whatever.
right.
So, and thank God my father goes, is this guy in Italian? Is this guy a basketball player? The guy turns around, which is Roosevelt Bowie, and start talking to us in Italian. So we're like
Mm.
shocked, because he did a lot of years back in Italy. So and now we start talking at the mall for like an hour. You know. Now 2 years ago, once again, I saw him at that dinner with Jimmy Boeheim and all the
R-
Syracuse
Right,
basketball stars,
right.
and I actually start talking to him, and he actually remember. And this was like 30 years ago. That conversation that we had back in that mall. So I thought it was pretty neat that he still remembered. But he was a great player back in the days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we possibly used to play pickup basketball with him. My brother-in-law Mitchell, who's married to my sister Maureen, because we
Yeah.
used to go down to Thornton Park and play. And I think Bowie played. But how old would he be now? Fifth?
Now he has to be, put it this way. When I came to America, it was at the end of his career.
Oh, wow.
So I'm assuming that he's got to be 60, 65 at this point.
Yeah, so well, that's 48, that's 12, that's 15, 20 years older. Yeah, he probably was playing pickup ball there if back then. I would
Yeah.
assume.
But good guy, good guy. Uh, and like I said, at least I can't wait till sports come back on.
Oh
Like I'm
yeah.
watching right now cricket, and I'm
Cricket. Yeah,
watching,
yeah, of course.
you know, I'm watching my neighbors who gets done cutting the lawn first. I make my own games in my
You
head.
make up your own sports. Who's the
Yeah,
get it done?
I
The
can.
really
I can.
good.
I'm a big soccer fan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I hope it comes back. But listen, the hour flew by.
Oh yeah, forget
Um,
about it.
yeah, I really appreciate you being on, and I want everybody to come and check out your webpage, your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, everything. I know that you said that a couple of those things are not very active, and I hope to work with you sometime soon.
Yeah, 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 Anthony, Tony. I'd love to do the comedy tour that you do all through upstate in Albany and all that stuff. To be one of those headliners would be great. I'd definitely be interested in
Absolutely.
that in the future.
Yeah. So thank you, Jimmy, for being on. We had Jimmy D, and in about an hour they can find this interview on YouTube as well. So subscribe to Tony Napoli channel. Thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Faizan. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
All right.